What's going on, guys? It's Greg here today. I'm bringing you a Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 gameplay commentary. Today we'll be talking about one of the best hidden stealth perks in the game, if you will, because it's not necessarily noticeable to many players that it's actually kind of a stealth perk, and you might think of it as something more of an aggressive perk or something to help you spot your enemies and all that kind of stuff, but it's actually very, very useful as a stealth perk. And in Modern Warfare 2019, I used to use this perk a lot, more so than this game, especially for the ground war mode, which is where I think this perk really shines, but it still does have use here in 6v6. So, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, this is the Tracker perk, and it is because of one of its benefits, which is hiding enemy death skulls. So, let's go ahead and get right into how Tracker works, and then I'll discuss with you guys. So you guys might be wondering real quick why I actually do these PowerPoint presentation style videos on some topics, and it's because I understand that there are people out there who enjoy playing the game and still watching content that might have some sort of impairment to their hearing, or they might be deaf. I actually have people in my family that have hearing problems, so I just keep that in mind whenever I'm making these videos, and it also helps for people who are visual learners. Moving on to Tracker, one of the base perks in this game. The text you will see in-game is enemies leave behind a footprint trail and enemy death markers are visible. Kill markers are hidden from the enemy team. As you can see in the right-hand area of the slide, there is a kill marker, and enemy death markers, I believe, are red. And so how is Tracker a stealth perk? Well, kill markers are shown to enemies, revealing where their teammates were at the moment you take out a player. And that is that little kill icon you guys see there. So players can see these regardless whether there is a UAV or not, and they can hunt you based off of where one of their teammates have recently fallen by looking for these around on their screen. So if you use Tracker, you can hide these skulls, and if you combine it with a suppressor, you can make it harder for them to understand where you're coming from, because the sound that is given off with your gun is obviously going to be quieter, and it can pretty much hide your location on the map, and you'll pretty much just be a ghost on the map, if you will. Outside of course, enemy UAVs and enemy advanced UAVs, but this is a great way to keep yourself hidden. Now, the enemy death markers is great as well, because if you are newer to the game and you aren't really sure where your enemies could be coming from, and especially because this game utilizes a squad spawn system, which means your teammates are more than likely going to be spawning around you and your other teammates, so that also works for the enemies as well. And having that death or the kill markers from where your teammates have killed people recently can help you also know, hey, that's where the enemies might be, let me go check that out. Plus, maybe let's say you struggle at hunting your enemies down based off of their decision making. You can't really read your enemies too well. Maybe you're new to the game, maybe you just haven't mastered that skill yet in the game. Having Tracker is going to eliminate the need for trying to read your enemies and trying to figure out where they are going when they are trying to run away from you, and you'll be able to see their footprints leading you to the enemy. So overall, Tracker is a great perk for both experienced players and newer players as well, because it's pretty much a stealth perk, as well as it eliminates the whole cat and mouse game of trying to figure out where your enemies are running to, especially whenever they're trying to stay alive. So overall, Tracker is a very underrated perk, and if you haven't already, I would definitely recommend checking it out. But now I want to get into some good combinations with the Tracker perk, because obviously you don't just want to run Tracker, you want to have some other perks that are going to help complement this perk. So let's go ahead and discuss this. So first things first, I think Double Time is one of the best perks in the game for complementing Tracker, and the reason is you're going to be chasing people, right? We see their footprint trails, we see skulls of where the enemies have recently been killed by our teammates. We're going to want to get into the action, so having Double Time means our tactical sprint is going to have double duration, we're going to be able to crouch walk faster. Overall, Double Time really complements this perk really well. If you also do want to stay alive, and maybe you're going to play a little bit slower and use this really just to hide your death icons, then maybe something like Bomb Squad is going to be a better choice, because that way if people are trying to RPG you, or if you are afraid of walking into claymores or proximity mines, then you're going to get some extra resistance against those kind of things. As for our perk 2, if you are going the double time route, then having Spotter as your bonus perk is probably going to be a very good choice. And the reason I say this is if you're going up against people who are using claymores and proximity mines, especially in the ground war mode, you can see where they're at and you can even hack them, which will give people a little surprise whenever they come back around, because enemies don't know if you're actually hacking their equipment or not. They don't get an audio cue, so if they go ahead and run downstairs or something, well, they're going to know about it, so by getting a nice little surprise and dying to it. Or unless they have bomb squad, well, maybe they'll survive. But yeah, so it is like a little hidden benefit there of running the Spotter. And again, if you are taking enemies out and then you are hacking things, those little death icons aren't going to show up, which means maybe you have a little bit of extra time to hack equipment. So overall, a pretty good choice. Or you can even have the cold-blooded bonus perk if you're trying to really go full stealth, especially in ground war, and you're trying to evade enemy VTOL jets and things of that nature, then cold-blooded is obviously going to be a good option. And finally, for our final perk, there is going to be the Ghost perk or Quick Fix, depending on what you are doing. Again, I am against using Ghost to start the match simply because well, first things first, you don't get it until you earn it. And on top of that, what if your enemies just really aren't earning that many UAVs throughout the match? It's not going to be benefiting you, as most people are not going to be using heartbeat sensors and motion sensors. So I would definitely recommend not starting off with the Ghost perk, and I would recommend having a perk setup where you switch to the Ghost perk mid-match. So, Quick Fix is my favorite perk in the game whenever it comes to the ultimate perks, because there really isn't a lot of competition in the ultimate perk category. The only other perk I could actually argue with and say that you would want to use is going to be Bird's Eye, but even then, I really just don't feel the need for Bird's Eye in this game, especially because, well, the minimap isn't really that zoomed in, and on top of that, I don't really feel that the directional indicators are going to be all that useful, because there are a lot of people who do run the Ghost perk, and yeah, it's just not really going to help you out. So overall, I would say that your best bet is going to be Quick Fix, because just having instant health regeneration after a kill is just, it's unbeatable, man. Like, just having that allows you to take on an enemy, and if another unsuspecting enemy is coming up on you, I mean, you already pretty much be back to full health, so you're able to take them on in a fair gunfight. So I definitely recommend using Quick Fix. Anyways, if you are playing ground war, though, you definitely will want to go with Ghost. That is the only playlist in the game, besides maybe Invasion, that I really do use Ghost off to rip the match and want to keep it on, because the UAV spam in a 32 versus 32 or 20 versus 20 mode is way higher than something like 6v6, where I just feel that you have the ability to stop your enemies from earning UAVs. Anyways, that's my commentary for today about Tracker, and hopefully you guys learned something about it. If you haven't been using it already, maybe it's something that interests you and you'll want to begin using it. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to drop me a rating, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I will see you all in the next one. Have a great day, peace out, and I'll see you then.